There are just a couple members of the U.S. Coast Guard here still on this tugboat attached to the Philadelphia Belle. Former Senator Santorum told the crowd several times that the record matters. The Davenport Police Department is blocking the road to the Holy Family Cemetery here on Waverly Road. Yeah, guys, they're about to get started here in a couple minutes. So far, they have 50 shavees signed up. They're going to have the ladies go first. Not as many boats out today as we thought there might be, but probably a different story this weekend. If there was ever a time a person might need their best friend,
My best friend, Dusty Dykema. This was his home.
it might be at a time like this.
I pulled into the wrong street. I had no idea where I was at. I was like, our house is gone.
This pile of debris is Dusty Dykema's home.
It's still not recognizable, honestly.
Dusty is originally from Bettendorf.
He built most of it from the inside himself, and now it's just wiped away.
Jay Foster still calls Bettendorf home. Tuesday, he drove to Washington with some supplies to help his best friend dig through the mess.
It's jaw-dropping. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Just around the corner, Galesburg firefighter Ben Johnson,
This was our front door.
helping his aunt with what is left of her house.
We're mainly clearing out their basement, whatever we can grab that isn't filled with water or isn't damaged already.
His aunt,
Very sad, but happy.
happy because her family is okay, but her photo albums nowhere to be found.
I don't have any pictures. They're all gone. And that makes me saddest.
But just as we were saying goodbye to her,
The whole album.
Some of it.
Of
There's mom and
Mom.
dad. Look at that.
Oh my golly.
we also found Tammy Miller, originally from East Moline.
It looks like a war zone.
Her home in Washington is okay, so she's helping neighbors.
We take a day at a time and we're all pulling together.
The messages on garages say it all. Many here considering themselves lucky.
I couldn't have got much luckier.
Just look at his baby girl's crib, nearly untouched. And lucky, of course, for his best friend Jay.
And he says how many? I'll make sure we have that many here.
In Washington, Brittany Lewis, WQAD News 8. The story starts when the grass was green. Robin Stock's yard full of neighbors. They were there to talk about making changes to this hill. The bottom of it, the site of many accidents over the years. Cars running into Robin's cars, even her house.
You wouldn't think sitting in your living room a car is going to come through.
Mayor Bill Gluba and Public Works Director Mike Clark there too.
So let's put a flashing yellow light that says, oh, okay, and a sign that says dangerous curve.
Saying those solutions would be completed in a few months. But by the end of those few months, the only change, this sign saying how steep the hill was. But what about those other changes? At the end of November, the Public Works Director saying this.
We had the parts and pieces on order and they had not arrived yet.
Saying he hoped a dangerous curve sign, a flashing light, and 2 more speed signs would be up in a couple weeks.
Once we make a promise, we keep it.
6 weeks after saying that, Robin Stock's front yard now covered in snow, and this flashing light the only other change.
I feel like somebody dropped the ball and just refuses to pick it back up.
And when trying to figure out when the ball might be picked up Wednesday night,
Are we talking about the same sign? Just let this guy do it. They're going to tomorrow.
The new alderman is pushing it. City Public Works Director's getting it done. It'll get done.
by Thursday, says Public Works Director Mike Clark, 2 speed limit signs, a dangerous hill sign, will all be installed.
100% these signs will be ready and up tomorrow.
In Davenport, Brittany Lewis, WQAD News 8.
Here he comes.
There he is.
All right, circle back, buddy. Got it.
They come from all over.
Rockford, Illinois.
Western Michigan.
Photographers with camouflage coats and cameras, lenses as big as their face.
We kind of knew ahead of time that there would be a lot of photographers here.
Just to take pictures of the eagles.
Flying through the sky, landing on the trees. Eagles are the reason these photographers
Here he comes.
We love to photograph the eagles.
There's a lot of birds out there today.
Oh, here we go, right here.
But there is one shot
That's a yes.
many here want to get.
When you get the claws just ready to grab the fish,
I want to get it just as it's got its talons out.
But that's a moment
challenging to get.
that's often even out of reach of these 800mm lenses.
It's never perfect.
The old fish separator.
So sometimes help rolls in.
Those are shad, and that's normally what the eagles eat.
Some throw the fish in the water.
I can only throw the fish out maybe 20 feet.
So what's an eagle photographer to do?
And that's what I invented. Over here is my fish launchers.
In 2 days, we saw 2 different fish launchers.
The eagles will readily go for fish that we put out in the river.
It's been revised like 3 times.
It's got a tilting mechanism on it that I can aim the fish wherever I want.
Both help the photographers get the eagles right where they want them.
I do get pictures without it, but I get a lot better pictures by doing it because they'll come closer.
The eagles lets them take the fish out of the river right in the spot where I can focus real well with the camera.
What did you think when you heard the term fish launcher?
I didn't quite know what they were, my first thought was, oh, it's probably like a potato gun. But no,
Jeff Harrison is a state conservation officer with the Iowa Department of Natural Resources.
I'll wait until he spins around a little bit.
And says there's nothing illegal about what they're doing.
Okay, see, sees it.
they just need to make sure that they obtain the fish from this area. They can't bring any live fish into the state.
And there are rules about who they can buy from, too.
You can only buy fish from a licensed commercial fisherman or commercial dealer.
It's on the verge of becoming a potential problem.
Kelly McKay has been researching bald eagles for around 30 years.
The trees are just packed over there. I would kind of lean towards not favoring that.
He says on one hand, by launching fish into the water, the eagles are getting food. But on the other, the eagles could start associating people with food.
That can only have, in the end, negative impacts to the birds.
So what should photographers do?
Go out and work for the photographs and try to do it naturally, because you're going to have much less of a negative impact on the birds.
I actually might have some shots myself that were due to baiting, but I would actually sit down here on the ground instead of up on the row, so that hopefully the shots that I got weren't relying on baiting.
Rich says in his time photographing eagles, he's never agreed with baiting.
It's the danger that can happen to the eagles themselves.
And as a photographer, he says launching fish for the eagles raises questions about the ethics behind the photos these photographers get.
I've been known to sit for 4 hours waiting for a shot. If you have to do that, and if you have to learn the patterns of what you're photographing so that you can get better shots of them instead of baiting.
It was hard to find a photographer to say that. Much easier to find ones that say it's okay. Do you feel like by baiting the fish that you're kind of staging the photograph?
No doubt, but I don't mind. I give them a meal and they give me a picture, hopefully.
They'll start fighting.
Many here argue this is natural.
Yeah, he's going to come down forward, I think.
They're still taking the fish out of the river just like they would in the wild.
You're right, they do feed on them naturally. So get your photographs as they're feeding on them naturally.
Passionate debate.
It might be cheating a little bit, but it would be a long afternoon if we waited for them just to fish on their own.
From the people who research.
I think in the end, it's not going to be a good thing for the birds.
Who photograph.
It just is more satisfying when you can say, yeah, I took that shot and I did not bait that bird.
And come from all over for these bald eagles.